Okay, this is 2.4b. This is the starting point going forward to test 2 on ALEKS, solving specific formulas. So they're going to give you a formula, and then they're going to ask you to solve for a particular part of the equation. So in the one that's given here, r equals c plus m, solve for the m. There are no numbers in this, but we don't need numbers. We can do without them. So we got to get this m all by itself. With it is a positive c. So we get rid of that with a negative c. That eliminates the c's on the right side of the equation. On the left, the r and a c are not the same. They're not like terms, so they cannot be combined. So we have r minus the c equals m. The next example is actually a rectangle that has 2 lengths and 2 widths, and the perimeter is the distance around. So if we add the 2 lengths and the 2 widths, we will get the perimeter. But in this case, they give you the perimeter, and they give you the length, but you have to find the width. So we use our equation over here, and the 60 is the total, so it goes in this position. The length is 20, so it goes into the L position. We end up with 60 equals 2 lengths, 2 times the 20, plus 2 widths. So 60 then equals 40 plus the 2 widths. So this is what we want to find right here, this W. And it's got a positive 40 with it. We always work with the side of the equation that has the variable. So we subtract 40 from both sides. And we end up with 20 equals 2 W's. So we have undid the addition part. Now we have to undo the multiplication part. This is 2 times W, and we want only 1 W, so we divide both sides by 2. And the width is 10, and we're dealing with inches here, so you have to add the proper units. So in problem solving, we're going to get into several story problems in the next section of ALEKS. And we're going to get into graphing and inequalities. So we're going to spend some time on those. So on the story problems, read carefully. Then we got to assign a variable to it. So the variable, you can make X, which is commonly used, but you don't have to. You could use a Y or a Z, whatever you wanted to. Then we have to combine these variables together with various other parts of the problem to form an equation. Then we solve the equation for the variable and apply the proper units. And you can always check your results by taking your answer and putting it into your equation. Something that may come up is consecutive integers. So if the first one is X, the next one's got to be one more, because consecutive means like 5, 6, 7. So the first one is X, and the next one will be X plus 1. So let's look at an example. 2 consecutive integers add to 119. Find these integers. So we said the first one is X. The next one's got to be one more than the first one, so it's X plus 1. And that equals 119. So we combine these X's, 2X, we still have our plus 1 equals 19. We undo the addition, so we get 2X equals 118. Now we divide both sides by 2, we undo the multiplication, X is 59. One more than that is our 60. If we add these two together, we will get 119. The next is consecutive even integers. So even means it's two more than the first one. So the first one is x, and the next one is two more, x plus 2. Notice we're going to use the same variables for the odd ones, x and x plus 2. What's going to determine whether they're odd or even is what they add up to. So two consecutive even integers add up to 62. So we said the first one is x, the next one is x plus 2. If we add those two together, they have to come up to 62. So we combine the x's, 2x plus our 2 equals 62. Undo the addition, get 2x equals 60. Undo the multiplication by dividing, and x equals 30. 2 more than that is 32. Add these together and you get your 62. So again, we're using the same variables for the consecutive odd ones as we did the even ones. So the first one is x plus 2 for the second one, and then equal 84. Combine the x's, 2x plus 2 equals 84. Undo the addition, 2x equals 82. Divide both sides by 2. First one is 41. Next one is 2 more than that, so it's 43. If you add these together, you will get your 84. Continue on with more formulas. Some of the types you're going to run into are interest problems. So I equals PRT. Interest equals the principal times the rate times the time. This interest is always in dollars. The principal is also in dollars. But the rate is a percent. Don't confuse these two. So I, the interest, is a dollar amount. You either pay an institution to borrow money or you earn it by investing. The P is called the principal, and it's the amount of money borrowed or invested. R is the rate of interest, or the interest rate, which is always a percentage. If you borrow money, they charge you a percentage interest on it. If you invest, you usually gain a percentage interest. And T is the amount of time invested, and that is always in years. So let's take an example. $1,200 is earned by investing $5,000 for 6 years. What is the interest rate? So this has to be a percentage. So the interest is $1,200. The principal and the amount we invested is $5,000, and the time is 6 years. So interest equals the principal times the rate times the time. So the interest is $1,200. The principal is $5,000. The rate is what we want to find out, and the time is 6 years. So these three are always multiplied together. We get 1,200 equals 30,000 R's. 30,000 times the rate. So this is a multiplication. To get this R by itself, we have to divide both sides by the 30,000 and get 0.04. But that's a decimal, that's not a percent. So we have to move the decimal 2 places to the right and add the percent sign. I'm going to skip the mixture problem and come back to it because I want to take a little more time on that. So a parade travels 32 miles at a rate of 4 miles an hour. How long did it take them? So this one is the distance equals the rate times the time. So we know it went a distance of 32 miles. So that's here. And then the rate was 4, and we want to find the time, so we call it t. So this, you'll always be given, except for the mixture problems, a formula, and you'll be missing one part, and you have to solve for the missing part. So here we want to find the time, and there's 4 of them. It's been multiplied, so we divide both sides by 4, and it's 8 hours. So if we put the 8 back in for the time, and you multiply it, you'll get the distance, 32. Okay, the mixture problems. We have a chemist here, and he wants to make 12 ounces of an acid solution at 30% strength. However, he doesn't have any 30% strength, so he's got to mix some 50% with some 20%. And he has to end up with 12 ounces of 30%. So how many ounces of 50% solution and how many of 20 does he need to get 8 ounces of 30? So this is where you read it carefully and then you assign a variable. So we let x equals the amount at 50%. And we know there's 12 altogether. So if there's 12 ounces and we've used up x of them with a 50%, this has to be the amount left at 20%. So it would be 12 minus x. 12 the total ounces minus the ounces we mixed at 50%. Now, after we have assigned the variable, now we got to make an equation. So the 50% solution at x ounces plus the 20% solution at 12 minus x ounces has got to equal the 30% solution times the 12 ounces. So we have the 50% solution, and then we have to distribute because we have a parentheses here and we have to do the order of operations. So 0.20 times 12 is 2.4. 0.20 times negative x is negative 20x equals 0.3 times the 12. Okay, now we have these two that we can combine. So those two combined give us 0.30x plus our 2.4 equals our 3.6. Now we undo the addition. And we end up with 0.30x equals 1.2. Divide both sides by 0.30. And then x equals 4 ounces at 50%. And then we said the amount at 20 was 12 minus the 4 right here. So that equals 8 ounces. We will be doing several of these in class, some of them starting on Thursday. So don't worry if you don't get it right away. We'll keep working on it. So good luck.